Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning into Premier Podcast. Today we have two special guests with us. In our previous episodes, we had talked about partnerships and how important they are to us as a company at Premier, but also how important they are to Clay and I as relationships go. Those two special guests that we have today is Luke Ziegler with Sherwin-Williams Paint. Luke and Clay and I have known each other forever, so we're really excited today to talk to him about what partnerships mean to him and to us as a company. And we also have Matt Balsley with us today. Matt comes from Dominus Stone. Matt has also known us for many, many years. These are two valued partners that we consider close friends, but also very smart industry executives. They know the industry inside and out. They have supplied many, many, many materials for us over the years, back when I was in the industry, and now as a business owner. Clay previously as well as a construction expert with his previous companies and obviously with Premier as well. So welcome guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks.
Yeah, of course. We're going to start our first go around with you, Luke. Just to give you guys a little insight on Luke and his background. Luke started his career with Sherwin-Williams back in 1999 after his high school years, which good for you. As a part-time sales associate, worked for 5 years, part-time, full-time, and as assistant manager. Moved to Shoreline. For those of you who are not from the Washington area, Shoreline is a outskirt area of where we are here we're in Monroe today, not in our other studio today. We are actually at our corporate office, but Shoreline is a close outside town from where we are currently. Moved to Shoreline as a store manager. You moved around district manager, larger volume stores until opening up a new store in 2013 in your hometown of Lake Stevens. And you currently, I believe you still reside in Lake Stevens, right?
That's right. And I'm not a district manager, just manager. But
So the district was in Lake Stevens until accepting this role as property management rep in late 2019. And that's where Luke, I, and Clay have really blossomed our relationship over the years. Since 2019, we actually started Premier, as you guys all know, in 2019. So Luke has literally been on this journey since day one with us, which couldn't be more proud of that. Secondly, again, we have Matt Balsley here, Dominus Stone. Matt, what's up?
How you doing, man?
Good, brother. Thank you. Matt started his career in the industry in 2006. Matt and I actually go back when we talk about partnerships, and not just the partnership side of the industry, but partnership side of friends. We have been friends for a long freaking time.
17 years.
Yeah. And so Matt has literally known me since I was back in the industry, just got out of the military. Again, as you guys know, and if you didn't know that, listen to a previous podcast. But we have known each other a very long time. Very proud of Matt and his journey over the years. I've watched him go from, he's got also an outliner here, but I really don't care. I've watched Matt go from, working as a resurfacer in the industry. For those of you who don't know what resurfacing is, that is tubs, surrounds. Obviously, again, in the apartment community, you have to resurface when you do renovations. You do resurface of tubs, countertops in certain instances, and tub surrounds, for instance. So he would do all of my resurfacing, which I greatly appreciate. It was a lot of resurfacing. And then moving forward, Matt ended up working at a previous company that we used a lot for the countertops, all the time, really. Tub surround as well. When we were doing solid surface, excelled in that position. He was in that role for after 4 years. Was promoted to a sales manager, where he handled and managed an upwards of $30 million worth of sales. He was exceptional at sales, very good at his craft, and made it very easy to work with. And I think that is one of the important things for us. You guys are like just sitting there all quiet here watching me talk. I love it. What's really important for us is the effort that it takes to have partners that know what they're doing. I think that when we have partners, industry people that we know, and there takes effort, I think effort sometimes takes time. And time is a lot what we don't have in the industry that we all work in, right? Mm-hmm. And it's always, time is of an essence. It's essential that we get things done, especially obviously again in the renovation space and construction, exterior paints, right? We have to get things done on time. And on a certain budget, and that's where these two gentlemen come in. So after his doing $30 million in sales in 2021, Matt ended up leaving and taking over, working with a new company, which is Dominus Stone, who we do partner with currently today. And he is the branch manager for Dominus Stone in this local area. So he handles all of our accounts for the most part on the renovations that we're currently doing on a lot of our properties. Not all of our properties, but a lot of our properties. Very dedicated and very seasoned again. So again, thank you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you.
It's fun to be here.
So talking about partnerships, for Clay and I think that when we got into this conversation about partnerships, one of the main things that we wanted to look at was, one, explain to everybody how important we valued partnerships and what that meant, not just for us as a company, but what that meant for other companies that we work with, and how do those two things kibosh, mingle together, right? How do they connect with one another? And I think at Premier, our goal has always been honesty, integrity, trustworthiness. Now, those are all things that obviously people have heard many, many, many times, but for us, we really took it to heart because we, again, come from backgrounds that, one, you as a contractor before and worked for me, like everyone knows, me coming from the industry, I didn't really understand what partnerships were from the industry perspective. I understood the word, obviously, but everything I think from the property management world, my personal, again, experience, it really wasn't a partnership. It was something that was more force-fed, or we have a national agreement, and it was more of an agreement than it was a partnership. And I think it wasn't until we ended up starting Premier that we started to recognize the value more in the partnership than the what can you do for me. And that's been proven obviously through COVID, right? We dealt with the pandemic, the four of us, which sucked butt. Wasn't a fun gig whatsoever, but we value it. And for us, partnerships don't just mean what kind of deal can we get, right? What type of pricing can we get? Partnerships to us go way deeper than that, where we know each other's families at times. And I'm not saying all partnerships are like the ones that we have, and we're going to have more guests on, by the way, during this series on other partners that we are also close to, but fitting that the two of you are here today because the four of us are close. We know each other for years. We know family members. How do you think, and I'll start with you, Luke, how do you feel about, what do you think of partnerships in general? Is it something that you feel is more like, hey, yeah, dude, I heard the term before. I think it's cool, but it really doesn't mean much in what I do? Or like, what is your overall thought? When you think of the word partnership and what we do collectively, the four of us, we're all from, obviously, let's just use this analogy here. And for you viewers out there and listeners, you can hopefully hone in on this. Let's just use this analogy of we are all from four different industries. Even though Clay and I work together and we're business partners and we have this successful company that we love, he does construction. I don't do freaking construction. Everyone knows this. I don't know anything about construction. Ask me to build something, it ain't happening, right? Ask me to renovate, I can do that all day long for you. So construction, renovations, paint, which Luke, again, and I mentioned Sherwin-Williams, but I didn't mention, obviously, for those viewers, listeners out there, Sherwin-Williams has two different divisions. You can correct me if I'm wrong. My limited knowledge of Sherwin-Williams, I use them for two major things. That is paint and that is flooring. So two major things that we use them for. Luke is part of the paint side of things, and he delivers a lot of paint to us. So, and then you've got, again, stone. So Dominus Stone, obviously countertops, tub surrounds, backsplash, whatever you want to call them, right? I mean, you can definitely interrupt it anytime you want, but stone, solid surface, so on and so forth. So hopefully you guys get the gist of that. So anyway, getting back to partnerships, what is your thought process on partnerships, and how has that process changed, let's say, working with Premier or the two of us?
Well, I mean, partnerships, I think it's a business. You have to have them in every business that you're doing. I've been with Sherwin-Williams for 24 years now, and Noob. Yeah,
Noob.
just a little bit of time, but I mean, I've been taught by, I have a lot of mentors myself. So, I mean, we have sales meetings where everything is about
Yeah.
partnership. It's not about shoving product down your face and just going for the 1 year. A partnership to me is long lasting. It's over and over and over and over again. I can charge you an arm and a leg for a year, have a great year, and then, our relationship's over. So, I mean,
Well, I mean, it goes beyond the
okay.
order.
Yeah.
Right? It's
Yeah.
not just about the order.
Yeah.
It's about the communication, the collaboration, getting together with the guys, having a cocktail, whatever it may be. That's what it's about. It's not just about the order,
Yeah. Yeah.
working together when an issue arises.
Yeah.
How are we going to solve this? Let's work together with that relationship, and just at the end of the day, it's about the customer, right? So work together. Let's make it right. We'll worry about the other nonsense at the end. That's how I like to treat relationships. Let's communicate and collaborate.
Yeah.
That's
I think a
another
lot of
thing.
people, what they don't find is they don't find this, especially I think nowadays, right? In today's society, what we see in the industry, and we will obviously refer to industry because this is what we predominantly do is multifamily, and you guys are obviously directly a part of that working with us. I think for most people, they don't see this anymore. It's, I'm not going to say it's fake, but I think that what we created wasn't created overnight. It was years and years and years back when the industry and partnerships really meant something. And I think why that's probably so important to us is because we value those times before.
Yeah.
And we were
Old
kind of
school.
part of
It's
that
kind of
old school generation
mentality.
where nowadays it's all about, great, we're a partner, that's not a big deal, we need this product. And I have a tendency, and I got to be cautious how I say it, but a lot of times I feel like they undermine us,
Well, and a lot
or
of
there's a little bit of you're beneath me or below me, when they don't really realize that we are the ones who make you look good and that are supporting you and that have your best interest
Yeah.
in mind. And that's getting a little bit off of a tangent, but
But a lot of the communication nowadays also, isn't like this. It's all through emails, text messages.
yeah,
People
yeah.
don't even like to pick up the phone anymore and make a phone call. I'm a
Answer
phone call
phone.
maker.
Yeah,
I'm a, hey, let's meet in person, especially when issues arise, right?
Yeah.
Meet in person. Let's talk face to face. Let's not hide behind emails. And so, I mean, that's a huge thing too, is like, as far as the relationship goes, I'm going to come to you and I know I can talk to you guys and I know you guys can talk to me. I'm
Yeah.
not going to type an email and say, I'm sorry, this happened.
Oh, yeah.
Will you forgive me? I'm going to come here and say, this is what happened. How can we fix it?
Right.
Yeah,
You
for
know,
sure.
and so like that modern way of communication
Yeah,
really doesn't
confrontation.
work. There's no confrontation.
Yeah.
And so when people get put in those positions, they don't really know how to handle them anymore. Where I'm here, like I'm face to face.
Yeah.
Like
right.
let's talk it out.
yeah.
And so, and it's just the old school way of doing things.
Yeah.
Pick up the phone, make a phone call.
And going back to, you asking me like what a partnership is, something that's kind of been beat down
Did you
in my
remember what you were
mind.
saying?
Yeah, I did. I've gotten back on track now. As I've heard that all of our, within Sherwin-Williams,
Yeah,
pretty much the only professional career I've had is, a saying that I've heard many, many times is, when all things are equal, friends buy from friends. When all things aren't equal, friends still buy from friends. So go make some friends. We hear that at, our sales meetings, and that's always stuck with me because it's not a sprint. It's a marathon. This is, I want your guys' business to be successful. I want both of you guys to be successful. And I know both of you want the same for me. So it's, and it's, so it's very easy to, you have an ally in a way too. It's like, I'm an ally for your business. I'm a partner in your business. Your business goes up, my business goes up.
Well, it's definitely a two-way street. It can't just be, hey, thanks for the order, I'm making money. There's gonna be times where, hey, I need to help Joe out on this one, and I need to give him a discount or maybe drop the price a little bit so you guys can win every once in a while too. And that's like the give and take in those kind of, in these kind of relationships, that's key. I mean, because not everything is always coming it's not just the order.
No.
Do you think that for us as a company at Premier, do you think partnerships, what we've instilled in employees, the value of that, do you think that's stuck? Do you think that our employees understand what we try to drive when we mention partnerships and the value of that partnership?
I would say they definitely do. I see that our employees are happy to spend time with our vendors, our suppliers. We've got Luke, we've got Matt. These guys they're cool. Like, if their name comes up on my caller ID, I want to answer the phone for these guys. I want to talk to these guys because they're fun, genuinely fun to be around.
Yeah.
And I see that our employees feel the same way. If Luke's coming to the office, Matt's coming to the office, they don't even have to bring anything for us to enjoy your company. Just stopping in, we're glad to see you guys. Just for shake hands and say hello. And it's a real partnership. It's not just being supplied something where I'm getting something and we're winning by getting something.
Yeah. Well, I think one thing that stands out is you guys don't, and I know we have other partners as well, but obviously you guys being here, again, is exciting, and I'm thrilled. You guys don't make it odd, and you don't lessen it by, hey, I've got the two owners with me, I've got to impress them, or I've got to do this, or you treat everybody the same way. And that's one thing that I think that stands out, especially with the two of you. Again, other partners we have, you don't find that often where you have people that are your supply. Like, you are the lifeline for our success, especially in times, again, like COVID, where you would get us paint when we couldn't find paint. You would drive in your own car and do it, right? Or when I need a countertop at the last minute, you're like, call me, I don't give a crap, it's 8 o'clock at night. I'll go install it myself. But you treat our employees the same way. And that's something that I applaud you two for. It doesn't happen often, right? You don't see that often. You usually see a lot of people have that sales hat on at all times.
Yeah.
And the sales hat is hard to turn off for a lot of people, but it's also hard to read people when they wear that hat at all times, because you don't know if they're authentic, if they're real.
Right.
And one of the biggest things I think that we at Premier focus on so much is being authentic as a company. We started this podcast so people could see an insight as to, oh wow, they're going to talk about partnerships. What does that really mean? And we're going to get way more in depth about this partnership conversation or topic that we're talking about. But it's general discussion. It's just an interesting dynamic when you can see other people to try to depend on them, or see other people and hope that the dependency is there. But the truth is unfortunately, you recognize that for them, it is $1. For them, it is a bonus or something like that. And they're really not in it for you. They're in it solely for themselves.
And they can't really take that sales hat off sometimes. They
Yeah.
don't know how to.
Yeah.
They don't know how to be just open and genuine and
Yeah.
just shoot the crap and just talk at a table. They don't know how to do that these days. You get some of these younger sales guys coming up,
Yeah.
and they're here, they got to meet these numbers, and that's what they're going to do. Well, little do they know, if they do this, they're going to meet them a lot quicker.
But you're going to understand more of what
Yeah.
I'm trying to shove down your throat if it is something ever. I mean, I want to put something in your guys' hands that is going to value your company, that's going to benefit your job, going to benefit your employees, that's going to make sense. And to your point of us coming in here and doing this, I mean, it's easy to come in. You don't expect something from us when we come here, and it's the culture you guys have built, though. I mean, the culture of Premier is like, your employees like to see us, but they thank me all the time. I get, anytime I talk to anybody at in the office or on the job site, or hey, I'm gonna get this order out, they always say thank you. It's a culture you guys have built in Premier that has made it.
Thank you so much.
No, it's I tell you guys all the time. It's like, I love working with you because it's nobody's yelling at me to do something. It's not, you get this done or I'm on to the next guy. It's
Well, it's a great topic to roll into.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge.
Not to bring, to jump too far ahead, but that's a great segment or segue to walk into. One of the things I think that we've always tried to do, and we've taught our people, is the value of partnerships is no different than how we treat our subcontractors, for instance, right? Recently, for those viewers, listeners out there, we did this Mariners game. It was a real big hit. We had box seats. We invited everybody that was, suppliers to subcontractors, their families. It wasn't just them. They could bring their kids if they wanted, their wives or significant other spouses. And, you know, for us, it's always been, you treat the subcontractors as an extension of you. Subcontractors meaning the people who do a lot of the work for us, but they are the direct extension of who we are. And I never understood why contracting companies, general contractors or or any company for that matter, would talk down to or diminish a company that's helping you become successful. So the culture that we created, I think at Premier, the culture we did create at Premier was, remember that when you're speaking to whoever you're talking to, they are a direct reflection, a direct extension of who we are as a company. So if I look at a company like Sherwin-Williams, or I look at a company like Dominus Stone, the biggest thing that I'm looking at, one is, are the individuals credible, right? What is the word?
Creditable.
Creditable. Are they creditable?
Credible.
Credible.
Are they incredible?
Oh, they're incredible.
They're incredible.
Are they credible? Do they say they're going to do what they are going to do? Do they follow through with what they say they're going to do? That's a huge one for us because, again, we talked about time earlier. And, you know, those two elements within itself, we've trained our people as a company, as a culture, to expect the same thing, but with the same tenacity and respect that we give. And I think it's obviously valued well on our end. I don't even know if that's the right word, but
Dude, I can vouch for almost every single one of your guys, dude.
Yeah.
If there's ever a timing issue,
Yeah.
it's not like they're not calling and screaming.
No.
They just call and say, hey, let's just talk about this and see what we can do. What's going on? Sorry, man, my machine went down today. I just have to push it like maybe till the afternoon, but we'll get it in for you. And they're just like, cool, man. Thanks for letting me know, you know? And so, I mean, that's huge for you guys, you know,
Yeah.
and Dominus Stone, those are the customers that we love to have. You know, we don't like contractors that call and start yelling at us when 90% of the issue is their problem anyway. It's their fault, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, kudos to you guys on that, because Chris and Raul and Andrea, all of them, amazing people. Never once have, you know, crossed that line where it's like, dude, Clay, Joe,
Yeah.
why? What?
Yeah.
Like, where does this coming from? You know, so there's that mutual respect between companies, right?
Yeah.
And that's a huge part of that relationship, you know, that needs to happen in the modern day, you know?
I think the partnership, you know, the word is what is missing for a lot of people. I think that they feel like they have a relationship with somebody almost as if it's a significant other or spouse, where, you know, and I'm saying this with the utmost respect, but I feel like I can disrespect you at times because we're in a relationship, or I can yell at you at times. I think there was actually an incident many years ago where I got in your butt and you're like,
You
hey
did.
bro, it is
Yeah.
not okay.
Yeah, that was
And,
a Herrenfield.
That was a Herrenfield. But that taught me, and it actually showed me that I knew I was in the wrong, and I didn't value it the way I value it now. Obviously, different mindset with business, but I think a lot of people do that. They feel like that relationship goes beyond the professional side, and now I'm able to speak to you or talk to you however you want. Well, I always look at it like, would I want that individual to speak to me that way, right? Or disrespect me like that?
Right.
And yeah, we really value that. What do you think? You're pretty quiet today.
I can tell you, I remember an instance that drove the point home to me where I decided that from that point forward, it was going to remain partnerships rather than the opposite. What happened for me was I was on a job site where we were painting all the hallways of this high-rise building downtown Seattle, and the property manager had not notified the residents.
Yeah.
And it was the second time he hadn't done it. We get there, we have all of our crews are ready, and we say, hey, we're all here to paint. He goes, well, that's too bad. I didn't have time. I'm too busy. I didn't get the notices out. You're just going to have to leave, and when I get it out, you'll be able to continue painting. Mm-hmm. And I said, this is not okay. You're treating us like tools, not like partners. You wouldn't do that to someone you were partnering with. So I reached out to the regional and had a conversation, and the regional agreed that no, that's not okay. You have to treat them as industry partners. You show them the respect that you would want them to show us. They've requested timely notices.
Yeah.
They've showed up on time, and you didn't show them the same respect. So I took that to heart, and I told myself that from that point forward, I was always going to try very hard, diligently, to show that respect to all subcontractors, all suppliers, everyone, because that's what I wanted them to give me and what we give to our clients.
You've always been a big advocate though, and we've talked about it in previous episodes, that you don't burn bridges. And you taught me that early on as well, especially when we started the company, that you just don't burn bridges. And you never know who will end up being in what position at what time, at what point.
Very
We
true.
always
Especially
say
in
this,
this
we've been in this
industry, right
industry a
there.
long
Oh,
time,
yeah.
where I've had leasing agents, right? And now leasing agents or somebody from the industry is now an executive VP.
Yeah.
And that one really hits home, especially coming from the industry and then doing this now with Clay for 4+ years. It's literally like, even in the 4 years, we've seen people that were in a certain position and now they are in this position. And you're going back in your mind, you're thinking, I hope that we treated them good. I hope that we were respectful when we were on their property.
That's why you just never know. You don't even know sometimes if just the human nature is to just be nice to somebody. You don't know, you try to be nice, right? But because you don't even know what they're personally going through. Maybe they're having a bad day.
Yeah.
True.
You know, and if you react like that, you're just going to ruin their day even more. And I mean, it's just not good business at all. I mean, positivity is key,
When you talk about Premier in a whole, for the two of you, I'll ask you first, Matt. So when you think of Premier, all relationship aside, like knowing us personally, whatever, what things stand out to you that we do differently than other people?
Communication is number one, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys have your steady flow of the people who schedule, the people that give the POs, the people that send the work orders, the people that do this, and it is streamlined. I mean, it is smooth. I know exactly who to call. I know exactly about what. Invoices, cool, I know who to call.
Yeah.
Scheduling, I know who to call. POs, Chris, bro, missing that PO.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you guys are very streamlined, very modern, very up to date, and it works, and that separates you from a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, some people still fax, and it's like, really, and so, I mean, it's like,
Snail mail you a
yeah,
PO.
like it's,
Yeah.
believe
We'll have
it
it
or
in
not,
5 to 7
believe
days.
it or not, yeah. I mean, it's crazy, but, and just like the character that's here,
Yeah,
the morale, like everything, it's just, you walk in through that door and it's just, everyone's just happy. Like
Yeah.
there is no, you can walk in here and tell that this company's great, and that's being honest God's truth, I mean, it's amazing,
Yeah.
like
thanks, man.
today, like peeking at Clay through the,
Like, what's
through the
up?
window, he's like, what's up? And I'm like, bro, haven't seen
Yeah.
you forever, and it's like that every time I come in here. Like when I brought you guys breakfast that one time and we talked a little shop, it's, it's, if you don't stay in front of your customers and you don't have the relationship with the customers, bring them breakfast, bring them lunch, just come talk, how's the family, how's the kids,
Is that
how's your
would that be a
remodel?
piece of advice that you would give to the viewers and listeners out there when it comes to you as a rep, as a district manager, somebody who runs the show? What advice would you give other people who would be watching, who are watching and listening to this? What advice would you give them on areas of improvement?
Take the sales hat off and just be genuine, just be normal.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm from a very small town, all Carbonado. I mean, it's a town of 400, man.
We don't even know where that is, just for
Well,
those out there.
There'll be some, I promise. There'll be some. But, and it's just be genuine. It's a logging town, coal mining town, small town. I never thought I'd be running a,
Yeah.
multi-million-dollar company at the age of 38.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, just take it off and be genuine. And that's what's really worked for me over the years is, yeah, I go out and I talk about this and we talk about things, but I'm never really like pitching. I'm more selling myself versus the product. The sales will come later.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And so if
They
you
know
just-
what you're selling them.
yeah, exactly. They exactly know exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so if you're just yourself and you create that relationship where it's not just like all about, I'm just giving Joe a pitch on countertops right now.
Yeah.
That's boring.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Seahawks. Let's talk about the Mariners. Let's talk about something else. You know what I'm selling, and everyone pretty much already does. So
Yeah.
it's like, go beyond the sales,
Yeah.
and bring lunches, bring breakfast. Bring them lunch on site, communicate with the supers.
Take care of their people on site.
Yeah.
Take care of the subs. I mean, that goes a long way.
Huge.
Yeah,
You know, not
24
just for
years
you.
experience. So
Yeah.
you talk about like what do you do, Luke, when it comes to let's use a scenario for you, right? You've got a new client, you've got somebody new that you understand the value of partnerships, you understand the value that you have working with Premier, this type of relationship. But let's say new contractor, new companies out there, they're getting started, they have minimal people, but they do need paint, right? And they just got their credit established at, or at Sherwin-Williams. What is your approach to somebody new with your 24 plus years experience in sales and doing this at Sherwin-Williams? How do you approach that first off to a new person? And then how do you get them comfortable with understanding what a partnership is, or at least comfortable enough to call you and not go to a big box store to pick up a paint product that clearly is not as good as Sherwin-Williams? Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I think a new customer, it's not just, again, to your point, going in there and just trying to shove a product down their throat. You have to understand what they do. Who are they? You gotta plan. You gotta pre-call. You gotta do some internet research. You gotta figure out who these people are, and then you gotta connect with them on some level too. I mean, you gotta. I mean, you bring in a lunch, but I mean, that's gonna get you your first meeting. But then you've got to uncover some nuggets that you're going to go back and bring something of value to the table. So you got to ask some good questions. You've got to relate with them too, and that's where kind of having that, maybe the old school contractor. Maybe we are going to talk shop a little bit, talk sports, but if they are a younger couple or younger company, maybe it is just a little bit more emails and stuff like that. But it's just about relating with them. It's understanding who they are. I'm a people person. I'm a personal person. So you got to, if it is just shoving some literature in there and that's the way that they are operating, then that would be, I guess, the start. But you've got to relate with them on a personal level.
I think one thing that's nice about Sherwin-Williams is the technology that you guys have used to advance your company has really benefited us, right? One of the main things that we've always talked about is we are a construction company, but we're tech driven.
Yeah.
So we really focus on more the future than we do the present. And one of the things that stand out to me about Sherwin-Williams is you guys have taken the steps necessary to, one, meet the world where it currently is, and that's AI, tech heavy. And you've got programs out there that I definitely want you to share upon a little bit. But those programs help us do our job better and faster and more efficient. And I think that with the younger generation or younger contractors out there, one of the biggest focuses has been it's not what can you do for me in that sense, it's how fast can I get it because I want it now. It's like the phones or DoorDash or whatever.
It's
everyone wants it
everything in
right
life.
now,
Yeah, it's
right?
everything
And
in
so
life.
you
Instant
guys,
gratification.
that's it. And you guys have done a
American
really
way.
good job as a company with producing things that, one, cater to that younger generation that are tech heavy, but also it caters to an older generation that might not understand the tech side, but they also aren't going to buying a test gallon of paint and putting up on a building anymore. Now they can just do it digital, and you show them, and you can talk maybe a little bit about that. How do you show clients like that, or you do show them how they can do that on their own?
Well, each market's different too. So I mean, within our world that we're doing, we have tons of marketing tools for, say, a res repair, and how we do it at Sherwin-Williams is we segment up every. We're multifamily. We have a property or a res repaint. We have new res. We have commercial. And
Res is residential, by the way.
Yeah, residential repaints, new residential. So the new home builders. So we've taken every group, and in my group in multifamily, we have a group of property management reps that call on properties. They have myself and another gentleman who are CSRs, which is a contractor sales representative. And our contractor service rep. But anyways, we deal with you guys, the general contractors who are doing the big capital improvement jobs. And so when we work more with regionals, Andrew and I, and we provide photo imaging where you can have a digital color rendering, custodians or paint maintenance guides at the end of every job. So that, we have tons of tools, and they're just, if you're signed up for it, you get just literature on multifamily. You're not getting shoved the repaint stuff for that makes no sense in your business. So
It's good.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of tools. We have our online, SW Pro app that shows your guys. I know your guys have used it because, hey, where's the closest store to this? Or I need to go pick this up, and you can just look it on your app, find the store locator. You can find all your data pages and anything that they need to have on site right there from the mobile app, and you can place an order. You can pull it, pull your history of your previous order. So there's tons of technology that we have on the market, and we've got tons of technology, and there's a lot of value with our online platform and what we can bring to the table. And
I think one of the things that we focus on as a company at Premier has always been trying to look at what's cutting edge, right? Some of the things that we do and we've implemented as a company, especially in the renovation side of things, we go through a lot of paint when it comes to renovations. We go through a lot of countertops when it comes to renovations. We've always tried to look at it plain eye. We've always tried to think outside the box, as everyone knows. We don't do things conventional. We are a very uncomfortable company to a lot of people that don't understand what that means. It's just simply, we take everything to the extreme to, one, better ourselves, but two, to make sure that we don't fit within a mold. We constantly look at how the market shifts, how the industry continuously shifts. If it's a supply chain issue, how do we fix it within ourselves? Our biggest thing has always been, we can't depend. And this is a very unique one with partnerships. We value partnerships, but we understand very clearly we can't depend on anybody but ourselves first and foremost. So we have to be able to look at ourselves and say, hey, listen, if something like, God forbid, the pandemic was to happen again, how do we prepare this time better than we did the first go around that no one really even knew what it was but a cough? So we've put things into place, in motion, where we will be able to self-sustain on a lot of the things that we missed out on last time, not just to become essential workers, but how do we carry that product, right? Or what do we do to carry that? Certain things, like a countertop, for instance, Dominus Stone and Matt, we could get all of the slabs in the world from an overseas entity, but we have no place to cut those slabs because we don't have a shop here that could miter and cut out slabs. So working as partners with companies like Dominus Stone is being able to talk to an owner, and I'm not saying this is with Dominus per se, but being able to utilize that and talk about what that means to utilize a facility if we brought in our own things, to be able to get it cheaper, but we would have it readily on hand and we would be in control of that. Same thing goes with paint, right? Paint is one of those things that if it shuts down, oh no, what do we do? Well, during essential work, we found that there wasn't really a lot of paint going on because it was something that you really had to be around people or be in open areas, and it really wasn't that common. But as soon as it started lifting, the demand was so high, if you remember, that no one could get anything. We were fortunate enough to be able to get stuff, one, because we have a great relationship with Sherwin-Williams. We also have a great individual as yourself who would go above and beyond to try to find that product for us, whether it was down in Vancouver or Portland, Oregon, and bring it up here. We would do whatever it took.
Yeah, other states, sometimes from other states.
But what we did learn is this: we don't just warehouse product. We will also warehouse paint, because what we have learned from you and Sherwin-Williams is we can shelve non-mixed paint for a certain time frame that it's still good. What do we got to do to keep it? You got to shake it. You got to know how to mix it, right? If you do need to mix it. So I think utilizing those type of things this time around has really helped us as a company become more efficient in supply and demand, and how that relates to the industry in a whole, where a lot of contractors, I don't believe, think of things like that. I think they just go with the ebb and flow of what the industry is doing, and if it works out, great. If it doesn't, great. We're not afforded that opportunity.
Yeah.
We make it work no matter what. So, but we'll talk about that stuff. You'll talk here in a little bit. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into this first part of the series with partnerships. If you enjoy the content so far, please hit the like, subscribe, save, whatever it is that's on those social media platforms. But we appreciate you guys tremendously, and stay tuned for episode 2. Thank you so much.